Boston Celtics up 2-0 after, I'll call it a relatively easy win. Derrick White was awesome. He got MVP chance. Atlanta still won the margins. Are they setting up for a win in game 3 and overrated chance for Trae Young in the Garden? I love you guys. Talk about it all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team. Step back, we gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course, the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I'm here for you every day with a free, fresh podcast dropped directly to your device if you're subscribed. So whatever app you use, just hit that subscribe button. If you're a first-time listener, then welcome aboard. I hope you enjoy the show. We tend to pick up a couple of listeners here and there along the route of a playoff journey. Also, watchers, people who like to watch the show on YouTube, subscribe there, ring the bell, get notified when I drop new videos. As always, hop into that comment section. Let me know what you think. Start a conversation. Join a conversation. It's all there in a growing Celtics community. I'm John Karalis. I cover the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. I wrote a book called Boston Celtics All-Time All-Stars. And, I played ball once upon a time. Later on, I'll get into those overrated chants for Trey Young. It's kind of funny. Plus, some of the players of the game that aren't going to get the love in the first couple of sections. The second section, actually, I'll save for some of the, maybe the less good things. Let's just start with the best thing in this game. Derrick White, who was awesome. 2 straight games now where he's had his second best playoff performance. He had a 30-something point game as part of the Spurs, 36, I think. But he had 26 in this game. He had 24 in the last game. So 50 points for him in 2 games. It took him 8 games last year to accumulate 50 points for the Celtics in the playoffs. So the year-to-year progression for Derrick White has just been amazing. And we've known it's been amazing all year long. But playoff Derrick is just having a good old time out there. He is, I think, enjoying some of the space that's given to Tatum and Brown. I think that's really, really important. That might be one of the most important kind of subplots of the Hawks series, that somebody like Derrick White can go off the way he's going off. It's great. On the surface, it's great. Good for him, and we're all loving it. Every podcast you're going to listen to or everything you're going to read somewhere, every outlet's going to have a big glowing Derrick White piece, including me on Boston Sports Journal and obviously here in the first segment of this podcast. But beyond that, there's a longer term effect of what Derrick White is doing out there, because if you're the Sixers, the Bucks, playoff, Western Conference playoff team looking ahead, you look at what the Celtics are doing and what the Hawks are trying to do defensively, which is whatever it is, it's not working. But doubling Jayson Tatum, okay, go ahead. He'll give it to Derrick White. You better have a good defensive matchup on Derrick White, because he's hitting from 3. He's hitting the floater. He's getting to the rim. He's getting to the line. You want to double Jaylen Brown? You want to try and take the ball out of his hands? The message here is, okay, sure, we're fine with Derrick White being the best player on the floor, which he was in game 2. I think there's going to be a cumulative effect here where Tatum and Brown right now, obviously, if you're the Hawks, you're like, hey, we know Tatum and Brown are going to beat us. We can't let them do all the damage. And hey, you look at the box score, and Jayson Tatum did a lot of damage, 29 points, shot 50, almost 55%, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. That's a hell of a game. Jaylen Brown, only 14 shots, and he hit half of them. So 18 points for him. He had a nice little chill game in 36 minutes, because they're kicking back and saying, hey, D White, go nuts. And he did. 26 points, 11 of 16 shooting. That's great. 2 of 5 from 3. That's great. 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks, a steal. Beautiful game from Derrick White. And other teams are going to look at this and say, you know what? I don't think we can double. Well, you certainly can't double off of Derrick White. And with Horford spaced in the corner, that's going to be a problem because you can't double off of him. Who do you double off of? Marcus Smart. Well, Marcus is going to make plays as well. And he had 14 points and 6 assists. He had a couple of quick threes at the beginning, but settled into the game. The point here is Derrick White made incredible play after incredible play after incredible play. And the half-court stuff in the wake of these, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown plays, that's going to be an important development down the line. I really don't care about this series anymore. The Celtics the Celtics have everything for the Hawks. The Hawks have zero answers, no answers. None of what I saw in this game too, which was better. Let's give the Hawks credit. They defended a little bit better. They shot a little bit better, but they still couldn't break through. They made it a little tough, but I never thought the Celtics were in any real danger here. And a lot of that had to do with Derrick White, who was making plays on both ends of the floor. And he's blocked Trae Young 3 times now in the series, which is a lot. He's guarding him straight up. A lot of times block shots come off of help. And when you're blocking your own guy's shot, that's defensive dominance right there. By the way, today's show is brought to you by the Gametime app. Download Gametime, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. I'll save the Trey Young stuff for later, but basically he's too small. This is it's like the meme. Too small. Derrick White's too good. And how many guys on the floor do you have to go down the list to get to how good Trey Young has been? Where does he rank on the list? Because right now I've got Celtics, I've got Tatum, Brown, Derrick White. I think Marcus Smart has been better than Trey Young. Robert Williams has been better than Trey Young. Malcolm Brogdon has been better than Trey Young. DeJounte Murray has been better. I mean, and then maybe you get to Trey Young, because I think that's kind of where you run out of guys who've actually been good in this series. But Derrick White blocking Young, he had that block on him before the Malcolm Brogdon heave at the half court heave at the end of the first quarter. What a demoralizing quarter that was, that first quarter for the Hawks. They came out, they played well. It looked like, the Celtics might be in a little bit of trouble here. I wasn't surprised. The game flow is basically how Tom and I were talking about it yesterday, kind of how we thought it was going to go. And the Celtics recovered quicker than I thought they would. And the Brogdon half-court heave put them up at the end of the first quarter. But there was Derrick White again, the center of all of this. So you can count on Derrick White to what? You can get him. He gets into the early offense. He gets them set and ready to go 5, 6, 7 seconds into a possession. He's up there. The ball is moving. He'll pass the ball. He'll shoot the ball. He'll rebound the ball. He went out there. How many rebounds did he get today? 7 rebounds out there. That's just, he does everything. The headline I put together is he's Boston's Mr. Everywhere, everything everywhere all at once, because he feels like he's doing everything everywhere all at once on the floor. So yeah, having a little fun with the movie title. I'm really impressed with how far Derrick White has come, how aggressive he's being, kind of throws caution to the wind, going in there for rebounds, doesn't care who he's challenging. It's really great to see. And as I said before, this is going to have a huge impact moving forward, because how do you defend the Celtics? If you're sitting there saying we need to let somebody shoot, okay, it's going to end up being Marcus Smart, but that's an easy fix. Even if Marcus can very easily just move the ball and not shoot it. Or if he's not hitting, then you get Malcolm Brogdon in there and you give him a shot. And then who do you help off of? So the Celtics are just so uniquely built. Atlanta, they got nothing. They got nothing for the Celtics. They won a lot of the margins. Joe Mazzulla likes to talk about the margins. The Hawks won those. They took 15 more three-pointers than the Celtics. They took 101 shots to Boston's 86. How do you lose a game? How are you down 22 in the fourth quarter when you've taken that many more shots? Talk about that next. First, today's show brought to you by Ultimate Pro Basketball GM. It's a super cool game. You know, if you've ever thought that you could run a team, be an NBA GM, turns out it's not that easy. Check out the Ultimate Pro Basketball GM to find out how hard it really is. See if you can make it work. The game allows you to manage every strategic aspect of a franchise. You start from zero, nothing. You got your team is in shambles. You have to build it back up again. How do you do that? You got to deal with challenging personalities, players, and coaches. You got to hire the right coaching staff. You got to trade players. You got to make them better. You got to make your draft picks. Navigate your franchise through free agency and the draft, all the ups and downs of multiple seasons. Listeners of this podcast, you get 100% free boost to the franchise when you use the promo code Locked On. This game is free, playable offline, and you can play on the go, and you get a free boost with the promo code Locked On in the game store. So make sure you check it out. Download the game, visit probasketballgm.com, scan the code right here on the video, and or just look it up on your app stores. probasketballgm.com, Ultimate Basketball GM. Start your dynasty today. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Tomorrow, fun show scheduled. Howard Beck is going to come join the show. Big name, big guest to talk about these first two games. See if he can figure anything out with these Atlanta Hawks. We'll talk some more Derrick White. We'll figure out what translates, what is in store for Boston moving forward. It's all on tomorrow's show with Howard Beck. So check that out. The Atlanta Hawks, actually, the numbers in the box score look pretty good for the Hawks in terms of they won the possession battle. They put up 101 shots. You put up 101 shots, you've got a good chance of winning the game because you got to score. You're going to score a lot. They put up 48 3-pointers. That's a lot. And that's something that they need to do to win. They had 19 offensive rebounds. That is incredible. It's an incredible number for them. That was kind of the same percentage of offensive rebounds close to it that they had in the Miami game. So how does a team do all that and still manage to be down 22 with a couple minutes to go in the fourth quarter? Now the final was a 13-point game, but the Hawks made it look closer than it really was. They went on a little bit of a run when the game was very much decided, and everybody was screaming for Mazzulla to take his starters out, which, you know, probably would have been a good idea, but whatever. It doesn't matter. The extra 2 minutes doesn't matter. These guys have a couple of days off. It's not that big of a deal. But they're down 22 at that point. How does that happen? Well, at this point, the Hawks just haven't been able to really find their groove shooting. They put up 101 shots and hit 43. The Celtics hit 48 shots out of their 86. They shot nearly 56%. Why? Because the Hawks defense is so god awful that the Celtics still got to the rim. Now, the Hawks defense was better, and they challenged a lot more. They blocked 4 shots. The Celtics did see some help there at the rim, but they still finished with 64 points in the paint to the Hawks 40. The Celtics were 32 of 49 in the paint. So that could have been worse for the Hawks. Could have been worse, but yet the Celtics still managed to win that by 24. The Hawks put up 48 3-pointers. The Celtics put up 33, but they only lost the 3-point battle by 3 points. 1 3-pointer. The Celtics shot 45.5% on their 3-pointers. The Hawks shot 16 of 48, 33.3%. The Hawks have to shoot better if they're going to even have a chance. There were no free throws in this game. The Hawks were 4 of 8. The Celtics were 8 of 10. That's ridiculous. And then the offensive rebounding, 19 offensive rebounds. Not great. Not great for the Celtics. They could clean that up. But amazingly, when you give up 19 offensive rebounds to only give up 13 second chance points, they gave up 5 buckets. Out of 19 offensive rebounds, they gave up 12 attempts and 5 baskets. And that's the second chance points. The Hawks, when I compared this game rebounding percentage wise to the Miami play-in game, the difference there is the Hawks piled up tons of second chance points. They crushed Miami with second chance points. Every offensive rebound was a dunk. Here, the Celtics, okay, they didn't rebound as well as they should have. This was not as good a rebounding game as the game one. However, they did a good job after that of defending and making sure that those didn't turn into easy second chance points. When you get 19 offensive rebounds, and some of them are tips and whatever, and so you get 12 attempts, you still have to cash in. Those are generally close to the basket. You should be cashing in on a lot of those. Those should turn into free throws or something. And the Hawks that should have been a much bigger disparity. It was 13-6 in second chance points for the Hawks. If you're going to get 19 offensive rebounds, you gotta have a bigger disparity there in second chance points. So it just tells me more that the Hawks don't have enough to hang with the Celtics. But I will say that the Celtics have set themselves up for what I think is going to be a game 3 loss, because this is still they're still giving up too many offensive rebounds. They're turning the ball over a little too much. They had 16 turnovers. But again, here's 16 turnovers for the Celtics, 16 for the Hawks. But the Celtics turned those 16 turnovers into 22 points, where the Hawks got 14 points. So the turnovers were even, but that's an 8-point swing there. So that's something that you if you're the Hawks, you look at that and you say, not good enough. And I just don't know how the Hawks fix this. You know what I mean? I'm trying to look at this from the Hawks perspective so I can figure out what the Celtics need to do. And frankly, all the Celtics need to do is stop turning the ball over, be a little bit better there, rebound better, and everything else will be good. But if you're going to give up 101 shots, and this is the second straight game where the Celtics have been outshot as far as volume, one of these games in Atlanta is going to turn into a hot shooting night. Trey Young is going to hit some shots. Now, DeJounte Murray was pretty good in this one. He was 11 of 24, 7 of 13 from 3. They had a big night there, but he was the only guy who was really doing anything significant. DeAndre Hunter hit a couple of shots early, but he tailed off. John Collins was a nothing. Clint Capella was a nothing. Guys off the bench, Bogdanovich had a stretch where he was hitting shots. That's it. So I think the Hawks will be due. I wouldn't be surprised if Friday night turned into a loss and we come back to Boston for a game 5. And as we said yesterday, I'm sure the owners wouldn't mind a game 5, but that's it. It's going to take such incredible shooting variance that no matter how I slice this game, no matter how I look at it, put it in conjunction with game 1, I just don't see a way for the Hawks to stop the Celtics, because even with some help, they still got to the rim. They still get to the rim kind of whenever they want. And then they still work the ball around and get whatever shot they want out of that. 28 points. 28 assists on 48 made baskets. The Celtics were slinging the rock. 6 assists for Tatum, 6 for Marcus Smart, 8 for Malcolm Brogdon. A lot of good performances there. I just don't see the Hawks. Sorry, just don't see it. Hawks are not good. Their defense is trash, hot garbage, and the Celtics can do whatever they want. If the Hawks are going to win a game, one game, they're going to have to shoot the lights out, and the Celtics are going to have to come back down to earth. But now we're going into Atlanta, so Jaylen's playing at home, Brogdon's playing at home, and we'll see maybe those guys step up. And maybe Friday night story is Jaylen Brown's 40-point game and Malcolm Brogdon with 20 off the bench. And, maybe the Hawks do shoot well, but the Celtics still shoot better. So we'll see how that goes. Individual performances. Haven't talked about Jayson Tatum yet. Haven't talked about Al Horford or any of these guys. So I'll do individual performances next. Plus those overrated chants. I love Boston fans, man. You guys are the best sometimes. First, today's show brought to you by the Gametime app. Last minute tickets. It feels like sporting events expect you to have your life planned out 5-6 months ahead of time. I can't plan my life out 5-6 hours ahead of time. I got so many things going on. And sometimes you wake up on a weekday and you say, I need a mental health day, or a weekend. You say, it's a great day. Let me go to a show, a game, something. Well, that's where the Gametime app comes in. You don't have to plan months in advance. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. You can get exclusive flash deals on tickets for any sport you want: football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, anything that sells tickets. Basically, it's on Gametime, and the Gametime guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Gametime credits you 110% of the difference. There you go. You can get an image of your seat before you buy, so you know what you're looking at. You can buy tickets in a matter of seconds, a couple of taps, and they get sent directly to your phone, so you don't have to fly through your email. I've done that before. It's uncomfortable. So download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. I always think you should be listening to the other Locked On podcasts out there, like Locked On Hawks, to get their perspective. Brad does a great job there. Very even-keeled, very straightforward, no homerism there. So check out Locked On Hawks to get their perspective. I've tried to see things from the Hawks perspective, but I don't think he has much optimism either. Let's start with some of the individual performances here that we saw, and then we'll finish off with the overrated chants. Let's start with Jayson Tatum, who was the leading scorer, 29 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Shot 54.5%, shot 5 of 9 from 3. He's in a groove. I think one of the most impressive thing about Tatum in this game, first of all, some really good defense again. And I think just comfortably accepting double teams. And this goes back to the Derrick White conversation, but also he found Al Horford for a huge kind of capper 3-pointer in the corner with a bullet pass. I mean, that thing was, in baseball terms, a frozen rope over to Horford for a corner 3-pointer. Tatum's just comfortable in that double team. Not that the Hawks are sending double teams that mean anything. They're not great doubles. They're very obvious. They're not aggressive. And so Tatum's just like, yeah, okay, come on. You want to just follow me over here. Just follow me over here. And, bing, here's a pass. You're done. You're screwed because now you're in rotation. I don't know what the Hawks are going to do. I thought they might go into a zone. I think they should go into a zone and just dare the Celtics to start bombing away. Celtics only took 33 3-pointers in this game, which is not a lot for the Celtics to take 53 2-pointers. That was the flow of the game. That's what they should have done. But I don't know. The Hawks probably want to dare the Celtics to take more and see if they can't have a 28% shooting night. But Tatum's been feeling it. He had a stretch. There's a stretch in the second quarter. Actually, go back to the first quarter where the Celtics finished on a 13-0 run. And then in the second quarters, that's where the Celtics really got some separation. Derrick White, awesome. Malcolm Brogdon had a stretch there where he was just slinging the rock and he was really picking the Hawks apart. And then Tatum was just finishing. He was the finisher in that quarter. He had a 14-point second quarter to give the Celtics a big lead or a comfortable lead at halftime. I think the flow of the game, by the way, is what Tom and I were talking about. And I think that third quarter, there was no real lull in the third quarter. I think the Hawks made a run, which was an actual Hawks run. Like that was the Hawks being an NBA team, and this is what it takes to beat an NBA team. This wasn't a lull. I think the Celtics actually played a really good game for the most part, minus some of the things that they need to clean up. But everybody in the team played well, and that run that the Hawks made was legitimately like DeJounte Murray just got hot. Bogdanovich got hot, and they were just hitting everything. And so I just feel like that run was like a legitimate, this is an NBA playoff team. This is the run that they make. So I'm not going to fault anybody there for that. But the third quarter, I thought, you had some nice performances there from Tatum. Tatum was just really good throughout this game. Jaylen Brown, like I said before, just a casual 18 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks kind of game. He didn't force anything. And that's one of the things that we're worried about in the playoffs. Are these guys going to force things? One of my favorite stats here is the fourth quarter stats, because Jayson Tatum took 6 shots, 5 points. Jaylen Brown took 1. Derrick White is the guy who he was 5 of 7, 14 points in the fourth quarter. They let him cook. He was the only guy. Well, actually, Tatum hit 2 shots, but everyone else hit 1 shot. Everyone else who scored, and Derrick White had 5 of 7. So it was nice to see everybody just kind of sit back and say, "Yeah, go ahead, Derrick, you got this." So just a nice, Jaylen had a decent game. Al Horford had that one play where he got a blocked shot, a wild block shot, and then came down. I think it was the third quarter, and got a corner 3 out of it. That was beautiful. So nice game from Al Horford. Robert Williams, they had a stretch there early in the game, second quarter, where Rob just got position and they kept dumping it into him and he just kept finishing. Nice to see aggressive Robert Williams in there and finishing around the rim. He missed 1 shot for the first time in forever. So, but I thought getting Rob in there and getting him, if they're going to have somebody smaller and Rob's going to be there and you just toss it up to a place where he can grab it and he can go finish, super smart. Punish them. Punish the Hawks for these matchups. They did a good job looking at that. And so he did a good job. Thought Rob was really good there. Marcus Smart took a couple of early shots in the beginning of the game, the first quarter, but he settled into the game very well after that. He played really well. 14 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. I think there was a really good Smart game from him. Shout out to Sam Hauser, who played 15 minutes and only hit 1 shot, was 1 for 1, but still was worth playing in 15 minutes. His defense has been good. I mean, for Sam Hauser, he had a couple of possessions there where he was switching on multiple guys and he hung around. He's done a good job. He had 3 rebounds in the game, using his height to his advantage. This is great. This is great because you got Grant Williams there as a DNP again. You don't have to go to Grant Williams if you don't like the matchup. You get him, just make sure you're rested. Keep your cardio up on off days. Get ready because you're going to go bang against Joel Embiid and switch onto Harden. Philly's going to be a big Grant Williams series. Milwaukee's going to be a big Grant Williams series. So save that bullet. You don't have to burn it. So good. I'm okay with that. I'm very much okay with that. But top to bottom, everybody had a good game. Everybody who played had a good game. This is what you want to see. Even though the Hawks made a run and they cut it down, the Celtics had it up to 20. The Hawks cut it down. The Celtics got it right back up to 22 there in the fourth quarter. It's just a nice response. I am not upset at the Celtics giving up part of their lead because I thought that's just the Hawks doing what they do. The Hawks being an explosive offensive team. So good for the Celtics. I thought they did a really good job. They held the Hawks to, I think, really good numbers. And look at the advanced numbers. A 105 offensive rating for the Hawks is good. That's way below their regular output. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy to see that. Meanwhile, the Celtics have an assist percentage of 58%. Their offensive rating is 115. That's really good. You know, their offensive rating of 115 is really good. Their defensive rating is 105, which is better than it was during the course of the season. All in all, really good numbers, really good game. And the Celtics are up 2-0. So again, Howard Beck tomorrow to talk about these first two games. We're going to get a good outside perspective. Am I being kind of dismissive? Oh, by the way, the overrated chance. I do want to mention this. At the end of the game, so The Athletic did an anonymous poll of 100 or so players, and they asked who's the most overrated player in the NBA, and runaway winner was Trey Young with like 50-something votes. So he not the most popular guy in the league. So he's considered by these NBA players anyway, the most overrated player in the league. Well, the folks around the section where I was in, 18, 17, 16, those sections were very, I guess, in tune with either The Athletic or the tweets that were going around tied to that. Because, and before the game, I was talking to Jay King and Sam Packard, formerly of this podcast. And I said, let's see how many Athletic subscribers you guys got out there if we get an overrated chant. I specifically talked to those guys before the game saying, we'll see. If we get an overrated chant, that's going to be a good sign for you guys. And what happens at the end of the game when Trae Young was taking free throws? Overrated chant. That was very well done. Very, very well done, Celtics fans. I 100% agree. I think he is the most overrated player in the league. I'll ask Howard Beck what he thinks about that. But again, check that out. But tomorrow, that's going to be tomorrow's podcast. And then one more podcast to go before game 3 on Friday. I will obviously do a post-game podcast there. Then Sunday is game 4. Maybe the Celtics will be going for a sweep. Every one of these games analyzed, broken down in detail here on the Lockdown Celtics podcast. Hopefully you are enjoying it as a new listener and subscribing. Whatever app you're using, this show is there. Watch the show on YouTube. Would love to see you in the comment section there, joining the conversation or starting a conversation. And if you're a regular listener, as always, you know I love you for being a regular listener. All the people that come up to me at the Garden and say hi makes my day. Just makes my day. Thank you so much. I hope you're spreading the word, telling everybody they should be listening to and watching the Lockdown Celtics podcast right here on the Lockdown Podcast Network, your team every day.